This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. Welcome to our flower series. In this video, we're piping buttercream succulents. It's broken down into steps so you can skip ahead, rewind, and rewatch as desired. Let's make some color for our succulents. We're going to make a single shade for this, and we've got some American-style buttercream in the bowl that we're working with. We're going to use the following liquid gel colors: lemon yellow, coal black, and royal blue. And since I don't need a lot, I've just got a little of each, starting with my blue, out on a lid right here. And I want to make a nice kind of, I guess it's like a sagey green. And I'm going to go more blue than yellow. And then just a nice little touch of that black, because we want that kind of dull sage kind of vibe. So we're looking for kind of a low chroma color, maybe a light to medium shade. We don't want to go too intense with it. And we want a healthy dose of that black in there to really give it that nice vibe that those succulents have, because they always have that kind of almost dusty look to them. So I think that's getting there. Just need a little more color. A little heavier on that black. Just kind of repeat the same ratio. Because I liked the shade, I just want to bump up the color some. Let's see how that looks. Nice, maybe just one more time. Maybe a touch heavier on the black. Just to make sure we get a nice present color that reads really well. Since everything's all the same color, we really want to make sure that there's enough color there that, especially where we have shadows, we get some really good depth. And it'll help those details pop out against each other. Sometimes if they're too pale, especially on camera at least, less so in person, it's a little hard to read. So there we have like a nice medium toned sage color that's going to be good for just some generic little succulents. For this flower, we are going to use a single 12-inch disposable decorating bag. You can see we've already got it loaded up with our buttercream, and we fitted it with a coupler since we're going to be changing tips. To start with, we'll be using a number 12, and we'll also be using a number 104. Let's review the techniques for our succulent. To start with, we're going to be making dots. Using our number 12 tip, you want to be up off the surface, nice little ways. We want some space between the surface of our flower nail and the opening of our tip, and you just want to squeeze and let that connect, get a nice full dot, and then stop and circle around. And this is great practice for making dots in general because we won't see this. This will be the internal structure of our succulent. For our succulent, we're going to do some petals that are just a little bit different than normal. They're a lot like a soft arc, except we're going to use an upsweep motion for this. And we're going to demo this more and talk about it more on the nail, just because I can't actually do it on the page. But the most important thing is that the fat end of the tip is going to be facing out. We want the outside edge of these succulent kind of petals or leaves or whatever you want to call them to be fatter and kind of chunkier and have some weight. So normally we would have the skinny end facing out because we would want nice fine edges on our petals, but these we want to be a little chunky. So we're actually going to reverse how we would normally hold the tip. And we're going to pull those nice soft kind of arc motions with that fat end on the outside edge. And as we do it, we're going to pull up the little dot that we made. As far as the bag goes, we're going to be in that flat position, so nearly flat, and towards 3 o'clock. And as we do our rows of petals, you'll notice that we'll change the angle of the bag. So we'll do a slightly different hold for each row, but it's not really that different. It's just from going flat to kind of going up to 45 degrees. For the top of our succulent to finish it off, we're going to do what I call little wedges. And they're just really easy. We're going to hold the bag straight up and down and give it a nice little squeeze and just let it make that normal, natural kind of wedge shape. They're not very big, so you can see it's a little fatter at the bottom and it has that little ridge on the top, and it kind of reminds me of a coxcomb on top of a rooster. And that's just kind of the look we're getting for. Those little petals in the center are always tinier, so we just want to make some of those little ridges there in the center of our succulent on top, just to kind of finish it off. Now let's review how we're going to combine all of our techniques that we just went over into actual succulent blossoms. We're going to start by piping the dot with our number 12 tips. So nice big dot, give yourself some surface area to work on. Then we're going to come in with our 104 tip and we're going to do those up sweeping petals. We're going to start at the bottom of the dot and do one, and you just want to pull up with the tail of it, which you can kind of see I've done a little drawing there. And it's going to come up the side about halfway. When you go to do your next petal, you're going to nest the tip underneath that tail and then pull up around from there. And you just want to do as many petals as it takes to get all the way around the base of that dot. If you do them larger, you'll need less. If you do them shorter, you'll need more. So just kind of keep that in mind. Once we go around a full row, we're just going to change the angle of the bag so that it puts us in a slightly better position. Pick a point to start and start in between two of those petals of that first row, and then we're going to pull another row. If you've done a really large dot, you might need a third row. If yours is a little lower in profile, you can probably stop at 2. But you'll notice you get to the top and there's just a little area in there. So if you don't need that third row, skip it, right? And then we'll just change the angle of the bag again so that we're holding it straight up and down right on the top there, and just pipe a few wedges. It typically only takes 3. Sometimes if you've got a little more area going on, it might take 4, but I just typically do a little triangle there of them on top just to finish it off, and it really completes the look. And this is a great way to make easy little succulents to work into your flower arrangements. We're getting ready to pipe our succulents. I've got my 2-inch flower nail, since we're not making a very big one, and I've just fitted it with a piece of parchment paper. I've got my bag of my sage frosting ready to go, and I have my bag fitted with my number 12 tip. So we're going to set ourselves up for success. Hold that bag straight up and down. You can see we're nice and up off the surface. We're hovering over it so we can squeeze ourselves a really nice big dot. You can see that line connects and balloons out. And when you get a nice big surface area, just stop and circle it around to finish that dot off. So I've changed the tip on my bag to my 104. I'm getting myself set up in position. I'm in my flat bag angle. I'm at 3 o'clock, so you can see the tip is facing right towards the side of the dot. And I'm going to start right down by the nail. And just as I spin my nail, I'm just going to move the bag up a little bit. It's still in that flat position. It's still at 3 o'clock. I'm just raising it up a little bit as I squeeze. So start squeezing, turn, let that frosting connect. And you can see just gently raising it up means that now I have this nice fat chunky petal that goes up the side. And you can see that leaves me the perfect little spot to come in right underneath the tail and do my next petal. So we're just going to repeat this motion all the way around. And typically it takes about 4 or 5. It depends on just how big I go with each one. But you can see they kind of swirl together, like they're coming together at a central point almost. We've got our first layer done, and you can see we've got those nice fat chunky edges on there. I'm just going to clean my tip off a little bit, and we'll set ourselves up for our second row. To put on our second row, I'm just going to change the angle of the bag. So we've gone from flat, I'm going to raise it up so it's more closer to 45 degrees, and I'm just going to start in between that last petal and first one and start another row. And these can be a little shorter. They don't have to be perfectly offset we're just looking to get another row on there and really kind of start closing that center area. To finish it off, I'm going to do my little wedges. If you piped a bigger dot or you didn't go as far up the sides with your first row, you can always pipe a third row if you need to. But for me, I'm just going to do a couple of little wedges there in the center just to finish it off. That's all for this lesson on succulents. If you enjoyed this video, try checking out some of our other flower series videos, like maybe our basic rose. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more about the cake decorating materials and equipment we use, or just some inspirational videos about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to know more about yearly membership and what it entails, you can go to www.cakedecoratingschool.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, you can check the links in the description.